Guess who's back again? We live, gentlemen. We live on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Got my brothers in the house tonight.
Hey. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. We're going to be getting started officially in a few seconds here. We'll just try to go through all the proper channels to make sure everything is working properly. But as you come on board, please be sure to say hello so we'll know you're there. Janine, how you doing? I see you jumped right on board. Good, great. And we were hoping that you'd be able to do so. You'd be able to find us, and I see you were able to do that, so that's great. Please be sure to say hello.
And turn your Facebook volume down, Keith, or Keith, just so it won't feedback in.
Okay.
Turn your volume down a little bit on your Facebook. Yes, sir. How y'all brothers feeling on tonight?
Man, feeling great. Feeling great. Keith, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good.
All right.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to go ahead and get started in a quick second here. Let a couple people join on tonight. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, look, welcome to the show tonight, everybody. Everybody feeling good, I hope. As you can see by now, we got some special guests on, but we're going to go through our usual. So let me give y'all a little introduction on what we normally do so y'all can get familiar when you see these things out in the marketplace.
LaCane, how you doing, brother? Good to see you, fam. Good to see you, cuzzo.
Yes, indeed.
Joanne Jenkins, how you doing as well? Good to see you.
What y'all trying to do? I'm kind of excited about our special guest tonight.
Yes, sir. I am excited as well, man. We're going to introduce him in a minute here.
Got some good stuff stored to tonight.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it. Cheryl Brooks, how you doing? Good to see you as well.
Joanne Jenkins, how you doing tonight, young lady?
Joanne, you got to holler at a brother.
See my family down there in ATL. What's up, LaCane? Cheryl Brooks. Oh, yeah, like the likes, like the loves.
Jermaine, how you doing?
My brother Jermaine Jennings down there in the Carolinas. Brother Lonzo, thanks for joining us tonight.
What's going on, Alonzo? Good to see you, brother.
All right. So, y'all, we're going to get this thing started a little bit. We've been playing around with the logos. Still we get some feedback on the blue.
I like that. I like that logo, though, brother. I love that logo.
So let me kick it over to the show's host. Go ahead, Q, do your thing, brother.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Quavian Knight, Q Knight, Quavy Knight, E Knight, whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner, all right? Good to see you guys, man. Good to be here. This is the Knight Brothers Intermittent Fasting Show, and we're always happy to have you guys as a part of the show. We'd ask for you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we develop our YouTube channel as well. But please, we appreciate the likes and we appreciate the shares as we try to get our message forward. I'm going to kick it over to my co-host, Brother Lenny Knight. Introduce yourself, son.
Well, I think they know us by now, but I'm the younger of the two. Not quite as handsome as my brother, but you know, I'll take it. Anyway, so
debatable, brother.
Hey, you the one lost the most weight, brother. You're doing excellent. So Anyway, tonight, Q, we're going to talk about our special guest that we got on here. I'm really excited about this brother because he's been tearing it up with this protocol and been doing some great things. And plus, he's just an all-around good guy. I've been knowing him all my life, and we're going to introduce him in a second. And then the second part of the show, we're going to talk a little bit more about the keto diet, Q. The keto diet. That's hot too, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Hot, and how that works versus intermittent fasting. So without further ado, to start the show tonight, bring my brother in. You want to introduce him, Q?
I certainly do. Let's give a big round of applause from Mr. Keith Colbert from Annapolis, Maryland. Come on, guys, let's give it up for him tonight. Good to have you on board, brother. Good to have you, man.
What's going on, brother? What's going on?
All right, man. Good to see you, brother, as always, man. You know,
you've been trying to get him on for a couple of weeks now, huh, Q?
Yeah, we were finally able to work it out. You know, we had some technology challenges as we transition over to a new format, but we think we finally got that down now, so we're going to be bringing on more guests as we move forward. But Keith Colbert, tonight's your night, brother, and we just once again want to say hello. And Keith, what we'd like to do before we get started, we want people to get to know, people who don't know you, get to know a little bit about you. So Lonnie, kick it, brother. Kick it to the next slide, if you would.
All right, I most certainly
And Keith, feel free to tell people about yourself.
You know, Keith Colbert from Annapolis. A lot of people know me, some don't, but you know, from Annapolis. I've been knowing you guys, you know, all my life. A lot of people know, some people, you know, most people know. Quay has always been like a mentor to me coming up. So you know, and he's helping me with this this new life journey I'm on.
Cool, Keith.
Awesome, brother. Awesome.
So Keith, I know you, Q know you, and I know you from way back too. But can you tell people a little bit about your athletic prowess and, you know, where you came up through playing ball and all that, just to kind of introduce some people to your background.
Yeah, played basketball a little bit. Played at Virginia Tech grad. You know, played basketball at Virginia Tech. Followed Dale Solomon from Annapolis. You know, down
Keith, I hate
Tech.
to interrupt, man. Could you just go back to the beginnings, man, to your original beginnings?
Oh,
Talk about from Annapolis High School on, because I want people to really be able to identify with you.
oh yeah. You know, I'm one of the Annapolitans. You know, came up, followed Lenny. You know, coming up through Annapolis playing basketball, watching them. So that's where it all started.
Mm-hmm.
All started.
And then from there, you matriculated to Fork Union.
Yeah, I went down to Fork Union for a year. Get the grades up, prep school before I went down to Virginia Tech, and you know, played and then went overseas and played for Sixers, and then went overseas and played for a minute, and now I'm back in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Great, brother, great. We just want people to have a little bit about your background. You know, I do want folks to know that Keith he's being a little how can I say this, modest. He's being very modest. Keith was an all-Metro player. He was an excellent player. He was recruited by lots of universities and schools and colleges throughout the nation, but decided on Virginia Tech University. Keith, I can remember taking you on a trip to George Washington University, where Virginia Tech was playing there that night. And
That's right.
Recruiting you during that process. And I remember helping you through the recruiting process as well, brother. But once again, we're going to fast forward to now, and let's move forward to now. As the next slide. We'll go to the next slide.
Absolutely. So with that being done, I know Keith is now, he's on this journey, this intermittent fasting protocol. So Keith, I want you to talk a little bit about, you know, tell people about your experience, because I know you saw Quavy doing it, and then I guess, I don't know how you guys hooked up on that. Did you seek out questions for him, or you know, what's your journey?
Yeah, I started seeing him a little bit, and then I reached out to him, and you know, he didn't push. He kept saying, "Hey, when you're ready, just let me know." You know, so finally one day I was like, you know, man, I need some help here. He said, "All right, this is what we're gonna do." And you know, he started talking about it a little bit, and then the first time he went online, I said, "All right, here we go. I'm gonna try it." And I just went, you know, full steam ahead. And now, you know, I'm into it. I started off, you know, like he suggested, doing the 16-8. So, and I'm basically at maybe 18-6. Okay. And then, you know, and like I had said before, I had a little trouble before, because I wanted the weight to fall off right away.
Okay.
So, you know, so Craig would tell me, Keith, look, it's not gonna work like that. It's not a diet. You know, it's a lifestyle change. You got to be in it to win it. then you'll see it. And then all of a sudden I started putting clothes on. I'm like, hold up, walking down the stairs and the pants with, I had to put a new hole in my belt. I was like, okay, it's working now. you
Right.
know.
So you started off 16 and 8. So for some folks that might be just joining us, don't know what the heck intermittent fasting is, explain what you mean by 16, 8 and break that down to folks a little bit.
I will fast, it's 16 hours, and then my eating window would be 8 hours. So I started really, don't eat anything after 8, and I could eat again at noon. But now, so I've started my time around maybe now 7, and then I don't eat again until maybe 1 o'clock, sometimes 2. And then, to close my window up, so, that'll bring my insulin level, start bringing it really down. So, I'll start burning a lot of stored fat.
Absolutely. We're going to dive into that a little bit more about that. So Keith, tell us a little bit about, your feeding window, because you told us that you start sometime at 8 o'clock, sometimes 7 p.m. So then you start fasting overnight into the next day till 12, maybe 1, 2 o'clock. So when you do break your fast and you go into your feeding window, you eat for somewhere between a 6 to an 8 hour period is what you're saying now?
Yes, sir. And then, and then I think the last week, I think somebody had questioned about eating breakfast, and
yes, they did.
I moved my breakfast to my first meal, especially on the weekend. So I have my steak, my protein and my eggs, around 1 o'clock or noon on the weekends, or if I'm late going to work, I'll have that during the day, so I'm not missing that breakfast.
That's an excellent idea, Keith. Excellent idea for those who really crave that breakfast meal. It's just to push it back a little bit so they can satisfy the feeling of having breakfast, but just having it a later time. That's just excellent move, brother. And I really like it.
Oh yeah. And then again, I just, and then you figure since my window now is smaller, then that means I can pick and choose whether my first meal is going to be a big meal or my second meal is going to be a big meal, since my window's small.
Yes.
And, I just break it down like that. It just all depends on how I'm feeling. And I was like, well, let me just go ahead and get some calories in my second meal. And like today, I only had a small thing of soup and some chicken, and I'm good until tomorrow, just because I ate a nice meal, at 1 o'clock.
Yes, great.
So today, for example, you ate your first meal at 1 o'clock, and was that a heavier or a bigger meal?
It was a larger meal. I had soup, chicken, and a small salad. And I consider that small. And I threw my little what you call it, little piece of Reese cup in there too. And see, that's another thing. If y'all don't mind me saying,
I love it.
That's another thing I struggle with, because I was like, okay, man, I got that craving, and craving, craving was like, Keith, it's okay. It is okay for you to bend, here and there, grab something. I said, okay. So I picked up those little teeny Reese's, Reese's things, and like twice a week, I'll have me 2 Reese cups and the little Reese's with the graham cracker. Ooh, I don't even want to start talking about them. I threw those in there, and I'm good. I am good.
Awesome, brother. Awesome.
Yeah, like Keith, I've shared with folks before that one of my my kryptonite, one of my weaknesses has always been like chocolate chip cookies and things of that nature. And I just want to tell people that even with it, using the protocols of intermittent fasting, I don't want anybody to feel deprived in any way, shape, or form. So it's okay if during your feeding window that you do have something that falls outside of what will be considered normal fasting protocol. If you have the chocolate chip cookie, if you have that piece of cake, that piece of pie or whatever, it's okay, because you know what? I'm fine. That fasting covers a multitude of eating sin. It really does. It covers up, Lenny, as you expressed with your having alcohol, wine and stuff, it can cover up a multitude of sins. So I don't want anybody to feel like they're hamstrung by intermittent fasting. You can break outside of the protocol and still be able to stay within the limitations. So let's continue on.
Yeah, just shout out to a couple of people that just joined us. Q, Kevin.
Yeah, sure.
Kevin Boost, I like that. I like your hashtag, brother. We gotta live. I love that hashtag.
Like that. Hey, Kelly Walker, I want to say hello to you as well. Good to see you.
Cheryl Brooks out there. Tyrone Scott just joined us.
Mm-hmm.
So, Keith, we want to kind of do a recap of somebody that might have just jumped on right now. Kind of tell people how long you've been doing the intermittent fasting protocol. When did you start this thing?
It's been, I think, 4 months.
Great.
Maybe 4.5 months. And I don't even know if I should share what I lost,
But yeah, we want to talk about your weight. Let's talk about your weight loss. Let's give the folks, we want to encourage folks. Okay.
man, I got up to 365.
Woo!
Wow.
And you figure, you figure I'm 6'7".
Yeah,
So,
you're a tall guy.
When I tell somebody, they say, "You were that heavy?" I say, "Yeah, I'm still heavy. I still have a long way to go."
Mhm.
So I'm down to 342.
Man, brother, you're doing it.
So I still got a long way to go. Well, put it this way, I was 342 a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen. I said 342. Yeah, No, I'm at 332. I'm at 332.
Sounds good.
I'm at 332. So 322, something like that. But anyway, I hadn't been on a scale in maybe a month, so I know I'm
Good.
But at this time, it's not even important. That's not even important.
That is true.
I'm feeling good. I'm sleeping better. The swelling, my ankles used to swell a little bit when I exercise. I don't have that anymore.
Awesome.
So I'm getting those are the important benefits. And the best thing about it, I've never taken any medicine.
No.
I've never even had blood pressure medicine or any. I'm not a medicine guy, so I said I need to jump on this now while I'm at this age, so I won't have to take no medicine.
Absolutely, brother.
Great point, Keith. Because that's really helping folks out a whole lot. That is a great point. So you lost a good 30, 40 pounds somewhere in there.
Yeah,
maybe
about
more because
40.
you haven't weighed yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm 43 down, and I hadn't weighed myself in a month.
Well, that's one of the things I always talk about, not being so concerned about the scale, because as I said, your clothes will tell you everything that you need to know. You'll start to notice it in your clothes, you'll notice it in your face, your body, all over. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, you can tell that you've lost weight. And like I said, I weighed myself for the first time last week, and first time for a while. And even though I had been kind of slow it down, I found that I've lost additional weight. So it's just the process, man. And anybody who continues the protocols, they will see the results. It may slow down in some periods, but it's still going to continue to go down. Most
definitely.
What would you say to somebody, Keith, that's interested in this protocol? I mean, we don't like to call it a diet because it's really a changing of your life.
Absolutely.
And with some continually doing it day after day, and some days are better than others. Some days you hit 18 hours. Some days you get hungry before and you eat a little faster, but you still fasted for a good portion of the day. So what would you say to folks that's trying it and, over their first week or so, and how can they really kind of get over the hurdle and really get to the point that you got to?
Just hang in there, because before you know it, it's going to be easy. It took me maybe a week. It took me a week where it didn't even bother me at all.
Yes.
And the thing is, stay active and stay busy. That's the thing. Stay busy.
Bingo.
Do something. Like I said, I work out in the house. I got my walk the weight off tape. I do every morning, every night. I do. You should see me. I'll be in the basement getting it, son. But I do 30 minutes in the morning, and then when I come back home, I do another 20 minutes, or I'll do 40 minutes, and then when I come back home at night before I go to bed, I do 20 more minutes on it, with the walking thing, get a nice little, burn some carbs, burn some calories, I should say, before I go to sleep, and then that's really right in my fasting window anyway. So.
Keith, let me ask you one more question, because I know when I first started doing this, I was a night eater, which means, I was definitely my last name, eat at night, every night. and I was, and I couldn't get over that, I had to have some food. My belly had to be full before I went to bed, and I really had to struggle with that part of it. and getting through the night. How did you deal with that aspect of, going to bed on an empty stomach and sleeping through the night? How did that work out over a period of time for you?
I water. I ended up getting that. What's that water? It's a little expensive. That the water called Hint.
Okay.
And it had the infused apple or something in it. So it's all in your mind though, because I would sip on that. I would sip on that a little bit, and I would just, like it was just water. There's no calories, no nothing in it, but just I had that hint of flavor in it. It would kind of throw my brain, play tricks with my mind, like I've had something to eat.
Yes.
And then I was good after that. So that's all it is, just mind over matter. And if you really want to do it, you're going to do it. You'll do it. That's what you really want to do anyway.
So Keith, what are your future fasting goals as we move forward? What are you spoke on that a little bit, but have you set some solid goals for yourself where you see yourself 6 months from now?
I want to get. I haven't been under 300 pounds in a long time. That might sound like a lot of weight, and you figure it's a lot of weight because after I was playing, I was the most I've ever weighed playing basketball was 220.
Okay.
And so I wanted my goal is 265. That's where I want to be at 265, and that's gonna be really small, but that's where I want to be. So I want to be at 300, below 300 by this summer, and then I'm just gonna gradually, and I'm not gonna change anything I'm doing. I'm just gonna keep my protocol going, and just see what happens from there.
Man, y'all give this brother some likes and love. If you on Facebook now,
yeah, man,
pound that button and give this brother some likes and love, because what he's doing is not easy, and but he did it over a period of time. You know what I mean? He's really, and I'm proud of him. It's a fact that it can work for anybody. It worked for myself, worked for Q. I'm still not there myself either, man. I still have more weight on me than I want to. I'm in the 230 range, 235 range. I like to get down into like the low twos. But man, I was up to like 280, 290 one time. And I was like, man, how the heck did I get so, but it happens as you
yes, it does. It creeps up on you. It creeps up on you.
So happy to have found this protocol. So look, we're gonna transition, Keith, into the next phase of what we want to talk about. I know you heard a little bit about keto diet yourself, huh? And Q?
Oh yes, absolutely. We're going to talk about keto and intermittent fasting and the differences between the two, and we're going to talk more in depth about both.
So before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the basics of intermittent fasting. Q, we have to always introduce this because we don't know who's the first time on the show tonight. And they said, what the heck are you talking about with intermittent fasting? Can you just to kind of explain the different, when we say the word protocol, different methods, different ways of doing intermittent fasting?
And yes, and once again, I want to begin by saying, for some of you, this is not new material, but like Lenny said, we'd like to always go back to the basics because there are always new people watching the show, people who are being introduced to intermittent fasting for the first time. And we feel it's only fair that they learn some of the basics along the way. So bear with us, those who know a little bit more about intermittent fasting, for going over this elementary stuff. But basically, intermittent fasting works in the following way. We recommend a 16-hour fasting window. And what fasting is clearly and basically a voluntary giving up of food for 16 hours, followed by an 8-hour eating window. That's called a 16 and 8 eating protocol. Fasting for 16 hours with an 8-hour eating window. And the example we always use for the simple math is cutting off eating after 8 p.m. at night, every night, and not having any food of any type until at least noon of the following day, which would effectively give you a 16-hour fasting window, because that includes the hours in which you sleep. From there, some people bump it up, like a Keith right now is doing an 18-hour window. He's fasting for 18 hours and he has a 6-hour eating window. There's also a variation called the warrior diet. I'm going to give you the name. It's called the warrior diet, where you're fasting for 20 hours with a 4-hour eating window. Now, a warrior diet is what I actually did today. I opened my window at at about 3 o'clock p.m. and I close it actually before 7 p.m. at 6:30 p.m. There's also OMAD, where you eat just one meal a day, which is where I really started, where you just have one meal during that 24-hour period, and then you won't eat again until 24 hours later. So those are your basic fasting windows and eating windows.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So keto diet. Keto is hot too, Q. I mean, I like the keto diet as well, but it's just some things about the diet, what you can eat and what restricts your diets, which makes me, like intermittent fasting a little bit more. But let's break down the differences and let's just kind of find out which one is better, or is one better or not. So Q, why don't you break down what intermittent fasting versus keto on this slide?
But before we could do that, I think we need to tell people exactly what a keto diet is, because there's some people who are really not familiar with the keto diet, even though it is unpopular. And the thing about it, keto is a diet, and while intermittent fasting is a lifestyle. That's one of the biggest differences right there. But keto is basically, the keto diet consists of, it's a very low carb, high fat diet, which basically you want to keep your carbs under 25 to 30 grams of net carbs per day. And the goal is to be in a state of ketosis, which allows your body to run on fat as your fuel. That's what the whole genesis of and the meaning behind keto really is. Keto tends to be more satisfying because it fills your hunger, because you're eating a lot more fat and protein. So it can be satisfying. But the keto diet restricts you from basically all carbs, all brown, white bread, sugars, pasta, rice, beans, things of that nature. But you're allowed to have lots of meat and cheeses and bacon and red meat and eggs and chicken and those things that are allowed in that diet. It burns fats as a fuel source. And it's something that's easier to use because it fits into social settings, things like barbecues and things like that. It's easy to find things to eat because you can usually eat anything during that period in a social setting. Some of the cons of keto is that you must have 75% fat, 20% protein, and about 5% carbs. So it restricts carbs such as sweets and breads and pastas and rice. And if you eat those things, it'll kick you out of ketosis, which eliminates that fat burning that you're looking for. And the thing about the other con about it, it's not sustainable. And that's one of the key things, Lenny, we always talk about sustainability, something that you can do all the time. And it's really not so good for you over the long term either, okay? And you might want to add to some of that, Lenny. You want to add to some of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that you said, like you have to check your ketone level to make sure you're in ketosis. That means you might have to do a blood test or prick your finger or use urine strips to urinate on them to see, and it gives you a reading whether you at that in ketosis or not. And but I mean, it's a great diet, but it's definitely recommended as more of a short-term scenario than a lifestyle scenario.
Yes.
And I don't knock keto because I mean, a lot of people have had great success with it. But I'm looking for overall health. Some of the things, I don't eat bacon, so it's kind of hard for me to, and eggs. If you're a vegetarian, it may be very hard to do a vegetarian keto diet. So, but anyway, intermittent fasting. Here goes some of the pros of that. This thing works for almost anyone.
Yes.
You can eat any food group, so there's no restrictions on. Like I had a glass of wine last night. I like my wine, I just do it in moderation. And I just make sure I do it, right at the end of my fast, drink my last glass of wine at the end of the night. It also burns fat as a fuel source. One of the big things that Keith was saying, it heals many ailments in the body. Because Keith was saying he wants his overall health. He said weight is definitely one of the goals. But Keith, you want your health just to be better, correct?
That's right. That's right.
So intermittent fasting does that. It's sustainable. So you can easily do this protocol over a long period of time. And it basically really costs no money. You don't have to buy nothing extra. You don't have to buy, no pills, potions, magic lotions, none of that type of stuff. You just basically, it's a time-based eating pattern is all you're doing.
Correct.
Now, some of the cons for it is I could see in a social setting, because if you had a barbecue and everybody doing, eating and you're not, but I guess you could even work around that too, Keith. If you were like,
Oh yes. Oh yes.
if you were going to a barbecue tomorrow, then you would just adjust your fasting window. So I guess
Exactly.
like Keith said, it took him 1 to 2 weeks to adjust to the period. And the other con is it does restrict the number of times you can eat per day. What's up, Jack Abrams, Janice Lloyd, Kim Makel, Lita Proctor, and Gregory Harris? Just seeing y'all jump in. Thanks for joining in.
How you doing, Stacy White? Good to see you as well.
So that is one of the things. It does restrict the number of times you eat per day. But one thing that I found out with that is after a while, you don't feel restricted because you don't feel hungry.
That's
Exactly.
the key. That's the key.
Exactly.
It is absolutely amazing. And, like this, it's always like this, you want intermittent fasting. So you want to tell me you're going to voluntarily skip breakfast? You want me to do that? Tell him, Keith.
But, I know we're making light of that, but actually, I'm going to tell you, after you begin to do this for a while, you won't even miss breakfast. I mean, because I find now that I don't even think about breakfast anymore. And like Keith said, if I really have a taste for breakfast food itself, I'll just have that as my first meal of the day. Then I'll have an egg omelet or something like that, some yogurt or whatever, a piece of toast. Things that are considered breakfast food, I'll have them as my first meal of the day and my meal of the day. But I don't have to roll out of bed and start eating right away. That's the key.
No.
So I guess the key question, now that we can compare these two eating methods, which one is better? Or the bigger question, because I think they both offer benefits, it's just up to the individual. The bigger question is, can you do both of them, Keith or Quade?
Well, I'm going to jump in and answer that, and then I'll let you guys answer. I'm going to tell you the real secret. When I first started, I combined the two. I started intermittent fasting using keto principles. So in other words, and you can still see that because even now, what I do is I minimize the amount of carbs I eat.
Yes.
I've started to incorporate more carbs now because basically I've reached my goals from a weight perspective, but I'm still trying intermittent fasting for the overall health benefits. But I combine the two. Whenever I did open my eating window, I would minimize my carbs. My carbs would come from vegetables and things of that nature. I eliminated the potatoes and the rice and the breads and things of that nature when I first started. And what it did for me is it accelerated my weight loss and my overall health. And I think that's part of the reason why I lost weight so rapidly, because I combined the two. But it is not what is absolutely necessary to do so. It's a personal preference and personal choice, the way I would
I haven't had bread in 4 months.
Oh, great, so, man. Awesome.
Yeah, so which is good. Now I don't even miss. I used to be a really, me and my lady, we eating out all the time, and as soon as they bring the delicious bread, we tearing it up. So that's totally. I'm not doing it. Can't do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I mean, the answer is really you can do both. Like Q said, he integrated intermittent fasting, doing a keto lifestyle as well, and accelerated his results tremendously, and still lost the weight and got the results that he wanted. And you can see some of these people doing the same type of thing. Just the guy at the bottom, 30 days he did this situation. And folks, right, look, we're not selling anything. We're just trying to help people to get a little bit more healthy, to showing you some results that people are having. And just take your time with it, like we said in the last show, that we recommend just taking your time, having some patience. That's one of the keys to success. Hey, Ren and Lisa and Paris for joining in, and Kevin Booth asked a question, Keith and Quavy, how do you sustain when it comes to going on vacation? One of y'all want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, I will take a stab at that. See, Kevin, one of the things you do is this. Remember, This is a marathon and not a sprint. Okay, I want you to remember that first of all. We're talking about sustainability, something you're going to be doing over a lifetime. So my thing is this: if you're on vacation, you're on vacation. It's okay if you vary from your protocols while you're on vacation. If you're going to, let's say, example of people are not doing this, but let's say you go on a cruise, okay? And you know the things that a cruise entails. It entails food, beverages, and that type of thing. And there's a lot of food and constant eating going on a cruise. Well, while you're on that cruise, it's okay if you act like everybody else on the cruise. But the thing is this: the day you get back from that cruise, you go back to your same protocols and principles, brother. So in other words, when you're on vacation, enjoy your vacation. It's like the old saying, Paris, I know you're on here right now. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. When you get home, you go back to your regular principles. And that's what I want people to understand. We're not depriving you of lifestyle totally. We want you to live your life and enjoy your life. But this is something that's for a lifetime. So don't worry about that 5 days when you're on vacation, that you're having an extra hamburger, that you're having that French fries, you're having that beer, you're having whatever you're having. Do that. Enjoy it.
I actually, because I love cruises.
Yes.
I actually, when I did the last cruise I went on back in September, before I'm glad I did take that cruise now. And I had not. Matter of fact, I was supposed to be finishing my cruise last week. I was supposed to be in Long Beach on a cruise going down the Riviera of Mexico. The cruise is paid for and I couldn't go. But anyway, that's what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the last cruise I was on, I actually incorporated some intermittent fasting in it. Now, you say, how the heck can you do that on a cruise? Well, some days I just ate heavier. And then the next day I just skipped breakfast. We went to the gym, worked out, got in the pool, hot tub and all that. And I just didn't eat anymore till dinner that night. Or, especially on sea days. On when you're at port days, it's a little bit harder because I like to go into wherever I'm going and enjoy some of the foods of that island or of that particular country, that type of thing. But you can incorporate periods of intermittent fasting even on a cruise, on a vacation.
Well, Lenny, one of the ways you could do that also is because there is going to be food constantly. Like we're using cruises as an example. That could be any vacation. So I don't want you to think limit this just to cruises, but to any vacation. One of the things you could do is you could still, even on vacation, it's not that difficult to skip breakfast. You can still skip breakfast. And that'll give you a longer fasting window. You may not be fasting for 16 hours during that time, but if you're skipping breakfast and you're having your first meal around 16 hours, maybe you cut off eating at 10 o'clock that night. So you may be creating a 12-hour, 14-hour window of fasting, which still will help you in regards of keeping you closer to your protocols than you would normally be. So you could do it that way. So there's lots of variation in this. Like I said, I don't want anybody to feel like they're so rigid in their approach that they wouldn't be able to enjoy their vacation. You're on vacation, have a good time. Yeah.
I stuck with my principles. I went away like a couple months ago for just 3 day trip.
Yeah.
And I was gonna sleep in anyway because I went away. So I got up, worked out, went to the gym, and I ate at 12 o'clock.
See, that's how easy, that's how simple it can be. That's how simple it can be.
It's like, I'm gonna sleep in anyway. I'm gonna go to the gym, take a shower. I'm ready to eat.
See, it becomes ingrained in you. So one thing for most people, I find that it becomes ingrained in you after a while. And it's like, no matter where you are, those same principles will apply to you. I don't care if you're home or if you're in another country.
I think your body
apply for you. Yes.
Your body becomes adjusted to.
Yes.
Because I can find, like right now, if I had to eat breakfast, I would have to actually force myself to eat breakfast at this point.
Same here, brother. Same here.
If I eat something, I just can't eat food in the morning like that because I would feel sluggish. Keith, I don't know if it's starting to have effect on you at this point already, 4 months in, but if you started eating earlier than your protocol, if you ate earlier than, like 8, 9 o'clock for whatever reason, you would probably feel heavy and sluggish than what you would normally do now that you're eating your first meal at 12 or 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't even miss it. I do not miss it at all.
Correct.
At all.
Right. I wanted to answer one question about alcohol because some folks asked about alcohol.
Mhm.
And one thing I will say now, I don't recommend if you're first starting an intermittent fasting protocol to have alcohol. I don't recommend that. I would say try to mentally abstain from it, or at least, Monday through Friday, don't have the alcohol with the intermittent fasting.
Yes, that's a nice compromise.
Maybe have one glass or one beer on the weekend or something like that, or one on a Friday night, one on a Saturday night, and then, Sunday you right back to your protocol. Hey, Mary Jo, thanks for joining us. And Sherry Tolson, thanks for joining us. Terrence Trader. But I wouldn't recommend when you first start intermittent fasting, do not, try to give up alcohol for a week. I don't know if you're a daily drinker or if you're an occasional drinker, but just like put that off the radar for right now and really just focusing on getting down the protocol, getting down the principles of how to engage in an intermittent fasting protocol. I would highly recommend that. As you become more seasoned, as you start to get some of the results that you want with weight loss and anything like that, then you can kind of incorporate maybe a glass or a bottle of beer here and there, but in moderation, because what you don't want to do is to trip your own results up. And here's what happens from a biological standpoint when you do drink alcohol. When you drink alcohol and eat food, the way your body breaks down the science part of it, your body has to burn off the alcohol first.
Yes.
Before it starts to burn off any of the foods that you ate, any of the carbs, any of the macronutrients, the proteins or the fats. So your body's going to burn that alcohol first. So if you're drinking 2 beers, 3 beers, 3 glasses of wine, your body's not attacking the food. It's not breaking down. It's not bringing your insulin level down to baseline, like we always talk about the intermittent fasting. So it can start to attack the fat later on in those later hours of your fasting window. So I would recommend folks that, and if you have some deeper questions about that, I'm not getting too technical, but I just want to, for the newbies, I don't want you to start this protocol and then say, why is it not working? And you drink alcohol. Because Leonard, you say you drink your wine. I've been doing this for a long time. So I found ways to make this work for me.
Well,
yes.
One of the things you can do, if you are partaking in alcohol, like Lenny said, it has a tendency to, all food or beverages will spike your insulin levels. But by having to burn off the alcohol first, it takes that time, then it takes the time to bring down the food afterwards, which makes it a longer period of time to get down to baseline before you start burning fat. Well, one of the ways you can adjust that and work around that perhaps is what you would have to extend your fasting window. Give yourself a little more time. If you extend your fasting window, increase your fasting window to maybe 18 hours instead of 16 hours, gives that additional time to burn off that wine, and then you can start to work on your food. That's a compromise. That's a compromise right there.
I had a really good week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
I indulged a little bit more. So
yeah.
So last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I did a 72-hour fast. I did a whole 3-day fast.
Yeah.
But I had drank kind of heavy,
Yeah.
the weekend before that, Keith. So I just said, look, I got to purge this out. I got to. So, now, look, we don't recommend going 72 hours, but you can in this protocol, 48 hours, 72 hours, if you want to go that long, you'll have tremendous results. But we advise, start off slow, build yourself up, and then kind of, you can test your body as you go along. But Q, look, we like to keep it short. I think we've been on here a good while tonight. I do want to thank everybody for joining in.
Lenny, would you check? Let's check first before we leave to see if there are any additional questions, because I always like to answer people's questions. Do you see any more questions below at this point in time? If not,
I don't, but I'll give it a second or two. Keith, you got any closing words for anybody while waiting for anyone?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Yes. Yep. Well, look, brother, it was a pleasure to have you on here, man. We can
enjoy it. Keith, I just want to continue. I want you to continue to, man, to make the strides that you're making. You're doing a wonderful job. I want to keep you encouraged, man. And it's not to be condescending, but I really am proud of you, brother, because you decided, you made the choice. You decided to move forward, and you're seeing the real benefit from choosing this as a lifestyle, not as a diet, but as a lifestyle, something that can sustain you for the rest of your life. And you're going to be rewarded from it from an overall health standpoint as well as the weight loss, brother. So once again,
Oh, yeah.
much love to you, man. Much love to
My
you.
man. My man. My man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, folks. Well, look, you see on the screen every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Facebook Live. I might have Keith back on here next week. He might become a regular. He might become a convert.
And once again, folks, please like, share, and subscribe to the program if you would. We're just trying to get the word out. It's not about us. We're not trying to do anything but spread good information for people's health and improve everybody's health. That's all we're really trying to do here.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, folks. Until next Tuesday. Peace.
Peace.
We'll see you next time.
All righty. Good night, everybody.